In any interaction, you are flying blind. People constantly hide their true motives, keeping their deepest weaknesses safely tucked behind a polite, polished smile. Because they control what they reveal, you have no way to anticipate what they'll do next. You are reacting to the shadows they project, entirely at the mercy of their hidden plans. To tip the scales in your favor, you need a way to slip past those defenses. You have to map out those hidden depths, all while looking like you're doing nothing more than making friendly conversation. Take the art dealer Joseph Duveen. In the early 20th century, he had his sights set on the American industrialist Andrew Mellon, a man who actively refused to even meet him. Mellon was notoriously stiff and tight-lipped. He hated small talk, and traditional sales pitches bounced right off his heavily guarded exterior. In this network map of Mellon's inner circle, Duveen bypasses the industrialist entirely. He secretly put several of Mellon's household staff on his own payroll. For years, these informants funneled intelligence back to Duveen, outlining the man's exact daily habits, tastes, and even his phobias. In 1921, Mellon checked into Claridge's hotel. Duveen quickly booked the suite directly beneath him. Relying on a tip from Mellon's valet, Duveen timed his exit to step into the elevator at the exact moment Mellon did. Duveen casually introduced himself and mentioned he was heading to the National Gallery. Mellon, heading the exact same way, invited him along. As they walked through the museum, Duveen deployed all that stolen intelligence, perfectly echoing Mellon's preferences and mirroring his tastes flawlessly. Mellon was completely disarmed. When you already know exactly what your target wants, you appear incredibly charming and naturally intuitive. The target willingly drops their guard, thinking they finally met a kindred spirit. Bribing valets is expensive and highly risky. The far safer route is to do the spying yourself, right out in the open, during routine social encounters where people naturally lower their defenses. The 18th century French politician Talleyrand was a master of this. His primary tactic was absolute self-suppression. In conversation, he kept his own opinions, his own ego, and his own personality entirely out of the room. This visualization shows how the tactic works. By removing himself, Talleyrand created an empty space in the dialogue. Nature hates a vacuum, and so does the human ego. This void sucks the other person in, compelling them to talk endlessly to fill the silence. This maneuver weaponizes human anity. Your target will mistake your intense, quiet listening for deep admiration, completely unaware that they are eagerly laying out all their hidden plans on the table. Some targets, however, are too disciplined. A quiet room won't be enough to make them spill their secrets. When silence fails, you can use a false confession. The philosopher La Rochefoucauld noted that if you bare your soul and share a fabricated vulnerability, you trigger a deep psychological urge in the listener to reciprocate. Hand them a fake secret, and they will hand you a real one. Arthur Schopenhauer proposed an alternative, purposefully and vehemently contradicting the person you were speaking with. When you suddenly push back against someone's deeply held belief, you spark immediate irritation. In their rush to defend themselves, they lose emotional control and blurt out the exact facts they meant to keep hidden. You can even scale this up to test entire groups. At the Congress of Vienna, Talleyrand would stand before a room of foreign diplomats and confidently announce a fabricated rumor, like the Russian Tsar preparing to arrest his top general for treason. He would then step back and watch the room. The physical reactions to the fake news, who gasped, who smiled, who tensed up, instantly mapped out the hidden political alignments and fears of everyone present. Whether you use a false vulnerability, sudden irritation, or a fabricated rumor, active extraction bypasses a target's logic entirely. It exploits their autonomic emotional reflexes to force out the truth. If these extraction tactics are this effective, you have to operate under the assumption that your rivals are constantly analyzing you in the exact same way. As Winston Churchill warned, truth is so precious that she should always be attended by a bodyguard of lies. During the late stages of World War II, the Nazis launched more than 2,000 V-1 flying bombs at London. To figure out where these rockets were actually landing, the Germans relied heavily on a network of embedded spies in England to report the impact locations and calibrate their aim. Tracking this map shows the British defense. They secretly took control of embedded spies, subtly shifting impact coordinates transmitted to Germany. Trusting this intelligence, the Germans adjusted their firing angles. Their aim drifted further, dropping harmlessly into empty pastures. Feeding your rivals incorrect intelligence ensures they act on a reality that does not exist. It weaponizes their own confidence against them, turning their rigorous analysis into the very mechanism of their failure. Navigating the information war requires mastering both sides of the board. You must actively extract the truth from others while fiercely defending your own. Mastering social espionage provides a degree of foresight that borders on the clairvoyant. It allows you to peer beneath the facade and predict future moves while they are still being formed in your opponent's mind. But that vision is only half the equation. You also have to intentionally blind your opponent. While the artful spy navigates with total clarity, their rivals, fed entirely on lies, are reduced to blind cyclopes, swinging in the dark.